This video shows using C++ how to create a game where you guess the letters in a secret phrase, kind of like the game of Hangman, but you can put your own theme on it. Okay, so we're starting out here. I have included IOStream. This is going to run in a command prompt, and included time.h because I'm going to use the random number generator to select the random phrase that we're trying to guess. So you need to seed your random number generator at the top, and then an intro screen. But do that last. Add the, I call it the bells and whistles last. Get the main program working first. Okay, so now what we're going to do is let's select random secret phrase. Okay, so we're going to have a string variable called secret phrase, and that's going to be equal to the secret phrase that the user is going to try to guess. So we need to make a random. Let's first create an array of phrases. So an array of string, I'll just name it phrases, and I'll just start with something small. You probably want to add more than that, is equal to, and I'm just going to put some short phrases in, and at this time I'm not going to use capital letters because what I'm going to show you does not work with capital letters yet. So I'm going to put like happy Monday, comma, great Tuesday, comma, awesome Wednesday. In fact, just to save screen real estate, let's just make this 3 right now. But, a good program is going to have a lot more secret phrases than that. Okay, and so now let's make our string secret phrase equal to a random one of these right here. Okay, so to do that, we'll say phrases, and then the index number needs to be either 0, 1, or 2. So we need a random number from 0 to 2. And so we can do that by going rand, which gives us a random integer, and mod it by 3. So that gives us a random number from 0 to 2. Now, at this point, you should test your program. A common thing to do in programs is to print the value of variables. And of course, they should be these prints should be taken out in the final program. So I'm just going to output secret phrase is equal to, and then the value of that variable. Okay, indel. Okay, so we should test our program right here. And so secret phrase equal to happy Monday. Let me try it again, make sure great Tuesday. Okay, so I'm going to assume that my selecting a random phrase works. Okay, so now the next thing that we're going to do is let's create guess phrase. Okay, and so this is going to be what the user's not going to see the secret phrase for obvious reasons, but the user's going to see the guess phrase, which will be a series of placeholders to represent each letter in secret phrase that they're going to try to guess. Okay, so to do that, let's create a string variable called guess phrase. And I'm going to make it equal to secret phrase to start out with. Okay, but then I'm going to replace every letter in guess phrase with my placeholder. So for example, let's just do a loop, int I is equal to 0. So we're going to step through every letter of guess phrase while I is less than guess phrase dot size I plus plus. And so now to make it work with spaces, what you can do is you can say if secret phrase at index I is equal to a space. Because if it's equal to a space, I want the guess phrase to have that space in there. Also, think about like Wheel of Fortune, it shows you the individual words, the spaces, and also punctuation. So you could add punctuation in with this. So if that's that, if it's equal to a space, then let's make guess phrase index I equal to the space. Otherwise, let's make guess phrase index I equal to the placeholder. So I'm going to use a period for the placeholder. Now, underscores run together. That seems like that would be the obvious placeholder, underscores. But periods work good. Question marks, asterisk, or dashes work good. Okay, so now let's try it out. And again, we need to temporarily just print the value of that variable. So let's print the value of guess phrase. And I think the program will start making a little bit more sense now, is equal to guess phrase. Okay, so let's run it. And so there it is. So if let me add another space so you can see that it lines up good. In fact, let me just put this down here. I'll print both of these out together. Oops, wrong one. This C out. Okay, so I'm going to print out the secret phrase and then the guess phrase together. And so you can see, okay, so if the secret phrase that was selected is Great Tuesday, then the guess phrase, this is what the user is going to see, is going to be equal to all these dots. Okay, and it shows you where the space is, which helps out. Okay, so now that is working good. So at this point, I think you can probably get rid of those two C outs. Those were for testing. And so now we need to declare some variables. One is going to be the number of times the user guesses incorrectly. And I'm going to call that bad guesses. And I'm going to start it at 0. Now, like in the game of Hangman, you get 6 bad guesses before you lose. So you could just use that. Of course, you can change that. Okay. And I'm going to declare a string variable called letter. And this is when you're asked the user to enter a letter, that's the variable that you'll put it in. Okay. So now is the main game loop. Okay. So the loop that continues executing as long as you're playing the game, which will be a while loop. Now, when does the game end? The game ends when the player wins or the player loses. So first of all, they're going to guess letters and you're going to replace those letters in guess phrase. So if guess phrase equals secret phrase, then the player has won. So while guess phrase is not equal to secret phrase, meaning we want to keep playing the game, keep looping as long as those two are not equal. And also while bad guesses is, say, less than 6, if you want to use that number. Okay, so now sometimes, here's another little thing. Sometimes you'll see programmers, like on a closing brace, they'll put in game loop. They'll put, because there's going to be a lot of code in there, and so when you see that closing brace, then you'll know what it corresponds to, since it may not fit on the page. Okay, so I'm just going to compile it, make sure there's no, it would be an infinite loop right there, just making sure there's no syntax errors. Okay, so now what we're going to do is right here would be display graphics. And you can do that later. So, if you were doing the game of Hangman, then you'd draw the little stick figure. And that's going to be based on the value of bad guesses. So you should have some kind of graphics that changes depending on the value of bad guesses. And so you can look at the example programs to get some ideas there. Okay, but do that later. Get it playing the game before you do that. So now what you should do is display the letters already guessed or the letters remaining. I like displaying letters remaining. And we'll look at that in just a second. Oh, and so anyway, yeah, you should have another, if you're going to do letters remaining, which I like better, you should have a string variable named letters remaining, remaining, and make it equal to the alphabet. And so as a user guesses a letter, we're going to remove that letter from there. Okay, then we'll put that there. Letters remaining, so we can just see out letters remaining. Put some text with it. I'm not going to do the entire program. Don't just output the alphabet. Let the user know what it is. And then you should output the guess word, a guess phrase. And again, let the user know what that is. Don't just say, just don't put the guess phrase. Put some text to go along with it. Okay, and then you should ask the user to enter a letter, enter their guess, and then cn into letter, like that. Okay, so now at this point, we should test it again. It won't be in an infinite loop since we have this cn statement here. Let's see if we have any errors. We have an error, letters remaining. Okay, let's try it again. And another one, see out guess phrase end L. Okay, let's try it again. And so there we go. Okay, so here is the letters remaining. And every time they guess a letter, you'll remove that letter from letters remaining. So it's not playing the game right now, but, there's no syntax errors. It's asking me to enter letters. Okay, so now to delete that letters remaining, what you can do, you can say if, let's go int found is equal to letters remaining. Found is letters remaining dot find, and we're going to search for the letter beginning at index 0. And so then if found is greater than -1, because -1 if it doesn't find it, then replace it with a space. So letters remaining dot replace at index found replace one letter with a space string. Okay, now that should be working. Let's see what happens. And so the error is, letters remain. Wow. Okay, I should have picked a shorter variable. Okay, so now it should be deleting those letters, which it is, P, F, G, A. Okay, so you'll notice that right here it's deleting. Again, you need some text with this. This is not very clean. This would confuse any user. What are we looking at here? Okay, output text on what each of those things are. Okay, so that much is working. Okay, so now really there's only one more part to make the game work. So I should put a comment here. Remove letter from letters remaining. Okay. Well, I probably don't need that comment there. Okay, so remove that. Okay, now the final, there's just one more thing to get this program to work, and that is to replace all occurrences. Okay, spell check. Oh, occurrences. I thought that. Oops. Oh, well. Okay. Replace all occurrences. That's embarrassing, isn't it? Of letter in guess phrase. Okay. So now that step is a little bit complicated because, like, if you don't find letter and secret phrase, then you've got to increment bad guesses. So here, I cheated. I've got the code right down here. Okay, so I'm going to paste it here, and then I'm going to indent it to where it needs to go. Right there. Okay, so now, if there's no problems, it should be playing the game. But there is a problem. Oh, location. So I'm using found instead of, and then found here. Okay. Secret phrase. So what we're doing, let's see if it works, and then I'll go back and explain it. Okay, so let's see if it's playing the game. I'll do an I, nothing, A. Okay, so see, it worked. It found two A's. There's probably an A. I mean a Y because we're doing days of the week. N, F, W, T. Oh, Tuesday. Okay, so it is playing the game, as you can see. That would be Great Tuesday. Okay, so it is playing the game, which is good. Definitely needs to be cleaned up a lot with some text so the user knows what's going on. Okay, so now it will end. Right now it will win without saying you've won or lost. So what you need to do is down here after the game loop, after it exits, after you've won or you've lost, then that would be down here. You've won or lost. So you could say if, what is it? Secret. Yeah, guess phrase is equal to secret phrase. Then you've won. So if guess phrase is equal to secret phrase, then you've won. Okay, hopefully you'll have a better winning screen than that. And then else, see out loser. Like that. Okay, so let's try it to see if it tells me if I've won or I've lost. Okay, so I'm going to go for a Y, A, D, N, T. Oh, it's Tuesday again. So G, R, E, S. Okay, so it says winner, but notice it didn't finish this because it skipped out of the game loop. So you'll need to, down here, you'll need to display the winning word. Okay, because when you won, you skipped out of the game loop, so it didn't display your guess phrase. So make sure you display the guess phrase or the secret phrase, either one, if you've won or if you've lost. Okay, and so let's check it to see when we've lost, to see if it's working. And so I'll just go through the alphabet, E, F, G, H, I. Okay, so I got to bad guesses, so loser. Okay, so that's working. Okay, so now that you have the program working, now you can make it look really nice with an intro screen. You could put ASCII art on it with display your graphics right here. And you're displaying the graphics, that could be based on bad guesses. So you could say if bad guesses is equal to 0, meaning you haven't, then you could display that ASCII art. Okay? Else, if bad guesses is equal to 1, then display that ASCII art. Okay? So that's how you would do some ASCII art in there. Okay? Now, I guess I'll go ahead and that's the basic game. I'll go ahead and show for adding color. For adding color, color now works. The same color now works on Mac, on PC, command prompt, Mac terminal, and also online GDB, which is an online compiler that runs on Linux. So the same colors work there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put these in. I'm going to paste some ANSI escape sequences here. And if you're on my online book, this is on chapter 21. So these online escape sequences will change the command prompt or terminal color. Okay. One note though, on Windows, you may need to do a register setting. So, of course, I have that listed in my chapter 21 bells and whistles if you're on my online book, how to do that. Okay. So this is the default color right there. And also CLS clears the screen. So the good place to clear the screen would be right here. And to clear the screen, you just see out that ANSI escape sequence, which is CLS. And now it will look like it, before it was scrolling down the screen. Now it will stay on the screen. Okay. At least that should be Wednesday. Okay. So now it stays up here on the screen, which helps the looks. And for doing the other colors, you remember the default gray color is just default like that. So like, for example, letters remaining, if you wanted to output letters remaining in a different color, then you could like output purple and then go back to the default color. Otherwise, everything past it forever will be in purple. Okay, so you can see, so now letters remaining is in purple. Okay, so that's how you can change colors there. Okay, so I think I wasn't really going to go into doing the actual ASCII art. You can look at some of the example programs to see what it's like. You could put ASCII art in there. An intro screen, of course, you could, I would do one more thing for ASCII art. If you just Google ASCII text, then that is a great tool right there. ASCII text. Let me make it a little smaller for doing ASCII art right here. Okay, so I Googled ASCII text and clicked on the first link. Great tool they put together here. Like, if you just want a nice, easy to read font, you can just do this one called Big. And so then you could, put whatever you want, your name, your credits, whatever you want, or actually your theme. Hopefully you'll think up some theme to make your ASCII art and your secret phrases and stuff like that. Okay, and then of course this can just be copied and pasted and then put into the cout statements after you fix the backslashes and quotations if it has any of those. Okay, so anyway, so that would be good on your intro screen. Another thing to keep your main program, which is already kind of big, to keep it kind of smaller, I would suggest putting some of these things like the intro, the winning, and the losing screens in a separate function. So here because it keeps your main program cleaned up. Okay, and so, you could put that down here, void, because I'm just going to have it display the screen, not return anything. Intro screen, not send any. So it's just going to, be my intro screen. Oh, and one more thing you could do on your intro screen. First of all, this wouldn't display because your CLS would clear it out. So to have it stay up on the screen, you can do press enter to begin or something like that. Let me do that there and there. And then if you want the user to be able to press enter to begin, you can do a cn.ignore. So that allows, otherwise it expects you to enter something. So cn.ignore. Okay, so, okay. And since I put my intro screen down here, I need my function prototype at the top of the program. So I'll just put my function prototype here, which is basically just the header line of the function. Okay, and so now this will be my intro screen. You know, ASCII art, colors, all sorts of nice things. Put your name on it, your theme, tell the user what to do, and then press enter to begin, and now we're in the game. And so you can do the same thing with the losing and the winning screens. Okay, I think that's all I was going to cover in this. So I know that's a lot, but it's a fun program and things that you can do a whole lot of customization and make something pretty nice. And I'll put a link to those example programs down below.